As you know, as part of the decade, we have some societal benefits of the sustainable use of the ocean that are to be accrued through the achievement of the SDGs and the Agenda 2030, as well as other type of frameworks, policy frameworks at international level, regional level, like here in the Baltic, or at national level. And it is important to define a number of outcomes that the UN Ocean Decade will address over the course of its implementation from 2021 to 2030. These outcomes, are considered to be highly transformative because they are expected to trigger environmental, societal, and policy changes. The decade, as you know, will address both deep disciplinary understanding of the ocean processes and also solutions-oriented research to generate the knowledge we need, and our countries need, our politicians need, our private sector needs to do these changes. The knowledge, your contribution to this workshop will support as well how societal actors will understand all processes and also to reduce the pressures on of the ocean, preserving and restoring ocean ecosystem and safeguarding ocean-related prosperity for generations to come. The decade itself should turn the scientific knowledge and understanding into effective actions. And this is why we have a planning process until the end, until Christmas 2020, and we will launch it in Hamburg in 2021, the decade, in order to have this effective action supporting improved ocean management and also including marine spatial planning and sustainable blue economy. At the end, the decade must empower decision makers and planners with science solutions. And these are more or less the objectives. Sorry. The agenda we have today, we have a welcome and introduction of about 15 minutes. You will be part of a group of discussion during 45 minutes. Then your interaction will be reported back in plenary in 20 minutes, and we will have a wrap-up sessions. Then after lunch, it's very good that you will be active and moving and standing up and interacting with your colleagues. Each group will answer a simple question. How marine spatial planning and the marine spatial planning community can contribute to the UN Ocean Decade's societal objectives. And we have, as we said yesterday, we have 6 societal benefits. We have a clean ocean. Sources of pollution are identified, quantified, and reduced, and pollutants removed from the ocean. A healthy and resilient ocean. The third one, a predicted ocean. Fourth one, a safe ocean. A sustainable, productive ocean, and a transparent and accessible ocean. You will see that we have different papers pasted on the wall, and these are the 6 societal benefits that you will be working into groups. Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, Group 4, Group 5, and Group 6 in the flip chart. And for that, we have the contribution of this wonderful panel of our colleagues, gender balance, I think. Yes, we are 3-3. And geographical balance as well. Then, before they introduce themselves, just for you to understand that your contribution is very important. And I thank you very much on behalf of ioc-unesco that you are here today and that you contribute actively to the discussions per group and also once we present the results. Why? Because the workshop will provide inputs on how MSP community will contribute to the development and the implementation of the UN Decade. The outcomes, your contributions will be shared first at the regional workshop on the UN Decade in the Mediterranean that will take place in Venice, in Italy, in January, and also during the expert planning group led by IOC in early 2020 as well. The outcomes of this session will also be further discussed during the MSP forum next year, that probably will be as well in the Eastern Mediterranean, and presented at the UN Ocean Conference in Lisbon. then we will probably, our colleagues here will write down your names to see where you have been contributing, in which group, because we want to inform you how your contributions have been used after the MSP forum. Then, I don't want to take more time from myself. I hope you understood everything, and I would like to introduce one by one and ask our colleagues to introduce themselves, starting with our colleague, Nayera.
Hello, everyone. Many thanks for ioc-unesco for giving me this opportunity to share ideas and exchange knowledge for MSP, linking between MSP and ioc-unesco efforts in UN Ocean Decade. I'm Naira Shaltut. I'm an associate professor from National Institute of Oceanography and Fisheries. My background is marine chemistry. I'm working in National Institute of Oceanography and Fisheries. It's the only international national research institute concerning oceanographic research in Egypt. It has 4 branches, one of the Mediterranean, one on the Red Sea, one on the Aswan, on the Nile, and one branch for inland water. And we are doing research through 6 different research stations. The main objectives of my institute for Egypt is doing monitoring, continuous monitoring for coastal area, and pollution monitoring, pollution control, biodiversity conservation, also some research for renewable energy. At the same time, impact of tourism and activities on the marine environment, so which are more related to MSP action. Egypt and NIOF sent their support to UN SDG Ocean Decade last June 2017, and we are fully support their strategies. Thank you.
Thank you, Shukran. And we go to our second colleague, Maria from Portugal.
Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank for the invitation to be here today. So my name is Maria Veil. I come from Portugal. I work on FRCT, which is the Regional Fund for Science and Technology. So it's the department of the Azorian government. And our department is a department that tries to help the other departments to implement some of the directives that are implemented by the European Union through the projects. So we have several projects that we manage regarding to the implementation of those directives. My background is on marine biology, and currently I'm a coordination member of the team of Project MARSP, with basically the objective is to reach a common vision for MSP in the Macaronesia region.
Obrigado, Maria. Américo.
Hello, everybody. I am Américo Sanchez from Peru. I am from the Institute of Research of the Sea, an governmental institution. We are involved in projects like the third phase of SPINCAM, who is making a conceptual frame of marine spatial planning for Peru, Ecuador, Chile, and Panama. Also, we are making technical support to the processes of MSP with the Environmental Ministry of Peru in the project of CFI, Coastal Fisheries Initiative, and also with the Authority of Maritime Affairs in Peru that is working in the MSP Global project between Peru and Ecuador. Yeah.
Gracias, Américo. From Peru to La Réunion, France.
Yep, thank you very much. First of all, I'm Amanda Segvarimas from Réunion Island, which is part of France, and it's an autonomous region in France, in the Indian Ocean. First of all, really, thank you very much for UNESCO and also for the organizers of this meeting to invite me here and to be able to come here and to participate in this forum. It's a big pleasure for me. So as I told, I work for the Regional Council of Reunion Island, which is a local authority of an autonomous region. We are mostly responsible for economic development, but also for maintaining the biodiversity and also education issues, so including blue economy. We just created a new service in the Regional Council, which is the Blue Economy Department, and really would like to move forward with blue economy in La Réunion. I am the project coordinator of an MSP project, which is funded by the EMFF funds in 2017. And this is called Ocean Metis, which is actually focusing on the exclusive economical zone and the coastal territorial waters around Réunion Island, treating really transversal questions, but we also want to contribute, as we have a technical partnership with the Indian Ocean Commission, we also want to contribute to MSP in the region, seeking for support and seeking for contact with the countries around us, like Madagascar, Seychelles, Mauritius, and Comoros. Thank you.
Merci, Anna. Samir?
Hi, everyone. Thank you, first of all, for the invitation to be part of this workshop. I'm from Algeria. I'm a researcher at the National Research Center for Fisheries and Aquaculture, and I'm the director of the research. And in the same way, I work with the WestMed initiative. It's a part of the blue economy strategy in the Mediterranean Sea, as it leads to the MSP directly, and we work on it. And in the same time, now in Algeria, we are preparing a new strategy of the blue economy at a national level, which leads to different activities in the sea, like the existing or the emergent one. That's what it's working on. Thank you.
Shukran. And from Algeria to Spain?
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for inviting me for being part of the workshop. I am Mónica Campillos. I am working as a researcher at the Spanish Institute of Oceanography, which is the main research center for marine issues. So my job now is involved in blue growth. I'm a technician project for the Blue Met initiative, which is looking for a better blue growth at the Mediterranean Sea. But I am also involved in the MSP processes due to the national processes in Spain, which the IEO is the support research center for the Ministry of Ecological Transition, and also involved in the European MSP project that have been done during those years. Thank you.
Very good. Gracias, Mónica. And then we are ready. Do you have a pen with you? If you don't have, we have pencils here. And rubber and sharpeners, everything you need. Then again, group 1 should go to the orange one with Nayara. Group 2 should join Maria in the blue panel here. Group 3 with Americo in the pinky one. The 4th one with Anna in the green one there. The 5th one with Samir in the yellow one. And the 6th one with Mónica in the flip chart. Then you have from now 45 minutes to work.
So our societal challenge was the healthy and resilient ocean. So the marine ecosystems are mapped and protected. Multiple impacts, including climate change, are measured and reduced, and the provision of ocean ecosystem services maintained. So after a little bit of discussion, we get to agreement in all of the actions and recommendations that we decided. So the first action that we think the MSP plans and the community could help to reach the healthy and resilient ocean is, first of all, because MSP, it's a mapping exercise. So mapping all the activities will help us to reach a healthy and resilient ocean. The other action has to be with the sea-land interaction. So we think that actions regarding sea-land interaction should be a part of the consultative process, because some of the things that are happening in our oceans, the origin of those bad things come from land. So it should be the land part or the land sector also should be called for the consultative process along the MSP plans. And then the other action that we decided was regarding the climate change. So we think that MSP should produce scenarios that support the adaptive measures. So climate change is making some mess, so we need to create the scenarios that will give us some answers to try to lead to healthy and resilient oceans. And then in terms of the recommendations, we decided that the MSP community should improve literacy in all sectors, so land and sea once again, so in order to reach the healthy and resilient oceans. I'm going to repeat this a lot of times. And then the other recommendation is that the implementation of maritime special plans should be driven and focused already on the health of the oceans. So while we are preparing the plan, you should have this, keep this in mind in order to, towards the end, we get to a healthier ocean. And then the last one, which is a really good one and optimistic one, is that UN Decade Common Goals should be used to reach a common vision on MSP. So you can try to use that as an overarching thing in order to reach a common vision for everyone. And this was more or less what we have discussed.
Thank you very much. Any additional comments from the participants in group 2? No? Okay. Thank you very much, Maria. Applause for the group. America's group.
Well, in our group, we make the goal of a predicted ocean. Society has the capacity to understand current and future ocean conditions, forecast their change and impact on human well-being and livelihoods. Do I have 3 minutes? It's a very hard goal, but the proposals are very good. So, for our proposals, we have an understanding of underwater heritage and traditional knowledge of the oceans and coastal marine zones. So the action was increase the capacity building on cultural heritage issues at different levels, and also in all the process of MSP. Just because we use the information of cultural services, but not taking count in all the process the heritage of the cultural heritage. No? So also another was the common, understandable, and accessible platform at local, national, regional, and global level, information exchange and sharing, and emergency bulletins. So we take in count that this one-way information, no? Only for technicians and only for politicians, but both information, this information could be in 2 ways, making a bridge between scientific knowledge and research, social and economic realities, political and legislative system. So it's because everybody has to understand what are we doing, what are we predicted for the ocean, why are we making scenarios. International standards for data collection and data sharing is one of the other proposals, no? And international agreement between countries regarding data standards, and also use these data standards in the national politics or sharing of information. Also, another proposal was the prediction of the future conditions to have the capacity to understand a future ocean condition and the impact and need of long-term, no, to forecast MSP for the sustainable development that is very related to the sustainable goals. And the action is improve the knowledge and driving forces of the uses of the ocean resources and legal framework, no? To know the impact of the human well-being. Also, we use planting scenarios of this to achieve this goal, but it's important to take count and make this information accessible to all the society. Another one was understand the share of all resources of coastal marine space and his interactions. It's important to make a plan of communication, to make a communication strategy about the MSP process, and public lecturers, maybe, is our action. Another proposal was use the siting concept within MSP, like green infrastructure, social economic analysis, and the basis like the ecological base, or the adaptation base. Use of agreed concept lead to better common understanding of ocean conditions, and aggregate data and information to be used internationally nationally in the national processes of MSP. Raising public awareness about sustainable development goals and the ocean decades. Not all the people, all the politicians that are involved in marine issues knows about the social goals and the ocean decade. So we have to do this work. More interregional understanding and interaction, and also cooperation. More cooperation to work between science, business, public, and authorities. Something that we took in the steps of the marine spatial planning, and the action were teaching about ocean issues since the kindergarten, because it's ensure the future of these studies and the comprehension of what are we doing with the predictions. More oceanology, MSP oriented to courses, and get more funds for the future. The citizen science, like cleanup days, actions like Theme 21 in London, fishing for leader type of actions, more media coverage about the public lectures, and making environmental friendly actions in trends. Increasing understanding of sea users and how ocean conditions, for example, water quality or eutrophication, affect or influence in livelihoods or the usage of the seas. We are discussing at least of this because we can share the models, and everybody don't know what are we talking about. So we can share this information with a communication strategy involving the local stakeholders, for different sea sectors. And that's all.
Intensive work. Thank you very much. An applause for them. And
So we don't have a flip chart, so we were working on my papers. I just hope I will be able to read my handwriting. We were talking about safe ocean. And first, on the overall goals, we try to describe what do we understand under the safe ocean, which activities can be concerned by the safe ocean, and which are the main problems. So actually, we need to talk about sustainable development of all sectors, including, for example, energy efficiency for the shipping, coastal community safety, and protection of these coastal community from the impacts of climate change, but also adaptation of the coastal communities to climate change, like, for example, floodings or other sea level rise. Then we have to talk about maybe safe tourism, safety of fishing, or regional problems, specific regional problems, like, for example, piracy in Africa. So that's safe to sail the oceans. Also, pollution. Do we have pollution in the maritime areas? And also, what are the limits of the MSP as a tool? Does MSP bring the solution, or can it be the solution, or how do we have to work with that? So these are the main subjects. For the recommendations and the actions, actually, it's coming up from the key messages. For the first recommendation, it's an overall one. And we say we have to protect the ocean as a humanity. So the ocean, maybe we need to protect it. Maybe we are the reason why the ocean is not safe. So this is one of the questions. And actually, we have to think about making the ocean as a source. Ocean is a source of life, so it has to be protected. Otherwise, we will lose this source, and we have to use the resources of the ocean in a sustainable way. Otherwise, sustainable development is just not possible. And what can we do for that? So we need to raise the awareness and increase the society knowledge, because many people, and it's the same in Europe or in Africa or whatever in the continent, in the world, that if people, mostly in developing countries, they don't know the potential of the sea, they don't know the possibilities that the sea can reserve, they might not be the same approach, and they might not realize that it needs to be protected, and then safety is a main issue. Also, we have to understand what we want to do. So we have to put our milestones for ourselves. Then the second one, we need to contextualize and adapt our activities and also adapt our life to special circumstances. So both on the regional level, but also on local level and on national level and international level. So we need to communicate strongly between the stakeholders, share the information, it's very important. And there is another important thing, for example, against pollution or against some illegal activity, we need to have compliance. So activities have to be in compliance with international law, but also with national laws. And we need capacity building to control that everything is in compliance, but also the states need an enforcement facility, because for the moment, if, for example, there is pollution and there is just international law who is forbidding the pollution, that doesn't have the same capacity of enforcement that if it's the national law who enforcing it. Well, I hope I translated it well. And finally, we have to understand and prioritize the risks. And it's important to map, to study. Also, we need to allocate some fundings and capacity buildings. We have to raise public awareness, and we also have to use informational technology, like, for example, use ship tracking or different web services to inform people about the eventual risks and hazards they are facing. And just a moment, yeah. And we thought, as a conclusion, that MSP is not the final solution, but it's one of the solutions. So it's very important to find the solutions, including the MSP. And the funding is one of the main issue, and the prioritization and allocation to funding to different actions.
Thank you very much. An applause for your group as well. The key messages are similar somewhere. Your turn.
Thank you. In our group, we're speaking about sustainable productivity for ocean, and we still are speaking with a valuable group with different countries. And we are speaking about how marine spatial planning and marine spatial communities can lead to this solution. And we have different discussion. The first one is our recommendation. It was to promote data and standards and data sharing in between countries for a multiple variety of the data, what we collect. And this is to lead to the action that including different proposal for the different sectors to have more scale and more quality data to implement it in marine spatial planning as a solution. The second one, we're talking about to provide social and economic benefit for the current state of the different activities in the ocean and seas, and how and the future generation, and how lead to including also the small island developing states and coastal least developing countries, and how the marine spatial planning can be implemented for a more solution and sustainable solution. And this brings us to speak about the need to know the current trends and how the different activities can contribute for the degradation of the ocean resources. And that's for the action. We've spoken about to have more and more marine protected areas for to protect these marine resources. For the last recommendation, we speak about the cooperation and collaboration between countries. We talk about the need of cooperation. It's very important that countries, if they maybe lead for the MSP, marine spatial planning solution as a better one for sustainable and to support even a decade, there is more and more effort to do with collaboration and coordination. It's very clear that small islands, developing countries and less developing countries, there is some lag in skills and profile and financial support to implement in marine spatial planning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and applause. Just a reminder that the next session in this room will be actually dedicated to cross-border cooperation for a coherent MSP. That I think is in line with some of the messages shared by Samir. Monica?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
How do you want me to do this? Because it's a bit
Maybe
here. We have, sorry for you.
yeah, don't worry. Well, thank you very much for my group for all the contributions. So in our case, our objective was focused on a transparent and accessible ocean, where all ocean stakeholders and citizens have access to ocean data and information, technologies, and capable of making informed decisions. So we have discussing about this topic, and in case of our objective, we have the following actions selected. First of all, we select 4 actions. First one was mainly agreed for all of the participants, where they think that one action will be an MSP community for data availability, showing the data information, sharing data activities, and create a common database for MSP. The second one was create an international institution to be responsible of the MSP data. The third one was ensure that funding is in place to enable access to data. And the fourth one was improve science-society dialogue for ocean literacy, how to convey or translate information of MSP to different levels. And for the recommendation, we have also 5. And the first one was establish a common agreement or parameters to decide what type of MSP data will be going to be shared. The second one, try to get information about what the stakeholders and citizens needs for MSP data. The third one, UN could promote as much as possible efforts to make scientific results and national legal acts pertaining to an MSP accessible in view of overcoming, for example, financial and language barriers. The fourth one was exchange policy about sharing information and data on MSP initiatives or an UN decade. And to end with, the fifth one is obtain data from general public to citizen science initiative to promote MSP. So thank you very much.
And I would like to add that one of your actions, I think it was related to data and information about MSP. ioc-unesco has a specific website where you can find information from all countries developing MSP plans. It is updated as the countries provide the information, but it's still there. And with the support of the government offices of Sweden, it is translated into French, Spanish, and English. This is in line as well with the work that the IOC of UNESCO is doing with the government of Sweden as well, and SWAN, in relation to ocean literacy, and how we are developing joint activities in order to create materials that in the ocean literacy context can be used to promote marine spatial planning. Then we are in the way. That's very good that you mentioned it, because like this we can report it back for all the member states to provide this support like Sweden do. And Nayara.
Thank you. Regarding Group 1 for the clean ocean, we have identified different action and some recommendations. The first one is regulating the dumping areas in a way to minimize the impact on pollution, regulate the seabed mining, manage the marine resources, and require port authorities to adopt largest that implementation targets and target that implementation for SDGs. Focus of MSP on environmental objectives over economic ones to set priorities. And moreover, that's converting all the uses into biodegradable and reversible using objects. Also, it's manage the actions at artificial reefs and artificial areas in the marine environment. Plan smart so that risk of collision between wind farms and shipping is minimized. For the recommendation, we identify the following recommendation: establish maps to monitor ocean pollution, protect habitats and ecosystem, define standards of surveillance and control, create mandatory insurance for stakeholders involved in the marine activities to compensate marine pollution, control illegal discharge, control land activities to avoid pollution, take into account temporal dimension of marine users. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good work as well, and good ideas for a complex topic to link it as well with MSP. Any question, comment, addition from your side? No? Otherwise, just to remind you, I'm talking as well about ocean literacy, that tomorrow we have a workshop 12 dedicated to ocean literacy and MSP, led as well by IOC. And I just want to thank you all for your contributions to this session. I hope you enjoyed as well, and to learn, sharing the experiences from all colleagues around the world. Then thank you again, and we keep in touch.